I recently heard an interview with Attia where he was describing his chronic back pain that he experienced at a very young age and that bled into his 20s and even into his 40s. And I think that the story is actually very relatable. So Attia is a very well-known doctor, and he's talking a lot about longevity, and he's been on different shows. People are seeing him more and more. He talks about not knowing form or how to do things correctly when he was very young. So he said he started doing powerlifting, he started doing deadlifts and some very heavy lifts when he was in his teens. And this is kind of a common theme, probably pre-TikTok and YouTube, where nowadays you can go online and you can search and you can get some good tips from coaches out there, which I think is helpful. Well, he went into a powerlifting gym and he started lifting real heavy. He said he was actually pretty strong. And I think he basically described that he blew his back out. He herniated a disc, in his teens. And it could have been more in his late teens, but he blew his back out. Didn't realize to the extent of how much he did, but he herniated a disc in his low back. But I want you to understand a theme here. So he didn't get the right coaching. And by the way, you can look at videos, but videos are not going to correct your form or give you the exact keys. They're going to give you a better guideline than having nothing. But he didn't have the coaching. Nobody told him or showed him how to do things. He very much injured his back. Well, he talks about how as he gets older, his back would actually go out to the point where he couldn't function. Like, he's in medical school. He's got a lot of things that he needs to be part of. And he talked about a couple times in his life where his back went out to where he had to have painkillers like shot into his back. I think he was doing rounds in medical school where he was doing his residency, and he was in so much pain that he couldn't even stand. So not only did he get painkillers in his back, by the way, he was also addicted to OxyContin. He talked about that as well. In one of his videos, another painkiller. But he was saying that he had to lean over onto a desk just to decrease the pressure in his back. Fast forward to another story. He said specifically, I'm going to tie all these pieces together, but he was biking, and he was from an area where I'm from. So he was biking in San Diego, and specifically he was going up a pass. Now, whether you're a biker, road biker or not, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to tell you kind of the mechanisms of the pain and the injury. But his back was fine at the time, but he's competitive. He's trying to go as fast as he can up the hill. And as he approaches his hill, it's a hard switch pack. I think it was, we'll say to the left. I can't remember if it was to the right or to the left, but he's cutting his bike hard because the road is actually doing a hard switchback, like almost like a 90-degree turn. And as he's riding up, think about it, his pelvis is tucked under, his shoulders are rounded. So we already have compression on his low back and lumbar spine, and those vertebrae and discs are compressing. So the top and bottom vertebrae are pressing down on the discs. As he turns that hard left, he rotates. So he's twisting his spine. So he's got compression on his spine as he twists to make this turn. And he felt something pop in his back. And he literally couldn't extend his spine and stand up. And again, he was in chronic pain for that one. I can't remember the exact amount of time, but it was days and days and days of him being like not functional. And he kind of went through this whole thing where he's had these chronic issues with his back, and now he's doing the things necessary through stretching, through strength training, the right type of strength training, to where he's got it and it's manageable. He's not doing certain exercises that are going to put more pressure on his low back. And if he's feeling better, he may do a little bit of he does deadlifts from time to time, but he's doing really good form. He knows how to do them correctly. And if his back is bothering him, he's not doing them. But I tell you that long story because he's a perfect example. He's a very smart guy that went into the gym as a kid, had no stinking clue what he was doing, which is all of us, right, when we're starting out. And then he is lifting heavy which we're all often, many people are trying to do when you're young, and he blew his back out. So it's like out of the gate, if you're going to start lifting weights, the best case scenario is you learn how to lift correctly, man. You learn the proper biomechanics. You learn about posture, joint range of motion, balancing the body, compensation. You actually learn about this at a young age. I learned at 19. I was already broken down. I was already a broken down athlete when I started to learn. So similar to him, I didn't get great coaching and I injured myself. Very similar storyline. But for Peter, he kind of worked through it and then didn't really learn the right things to do until he was probably 30s, definitely, and maybe even into his 40s. I tell you that story because whether you tweaked or injured yourself when you were younger and didn't know how to train, or you could be in that 40, 50 plus population where you have a back injury, you have a back, an area that bothers you, neck, back, shoulder, something that bothers you, they're 100%, there's ways, there's things you can do to improve your posture, your movement, so that you have less joint pain and so that you can do the things you want to do. And it very much is kind of a scientific approach of looking at your posture, looking at your joint range of motion, of customizing programming to help you. So I would almost say, don't make the mistake that so many of us make where we're not training smart and then we really injure ourselves. If you can learn how to train smart from when you're young to the rest of your life, I mean, that's a game changer. But you may not be in that situation. You may be 50 plus and you're like, man, I've got these areas that bother me. Great. That's many of us. Now, what can you do about it? Well, what you can do about it is learn the right training. You can't change the past, but you can focus on exactly where you are and learn the right training that's going to help you to be healthy and active for the rest of your life. And someone like Peter, he's figured it out to where he's able to train. He knows the things that bothers him. He knows the exercises that help him to feel better, open up his back, his hips, and he knows how to mitigate it so that he can function. But he was in a bad way. He was really hurting. He was taking, he said that he's lucky to be alive with the amount of painkillers he was addicted to. I think in his 20s, he was talking about that on a video. And these are good examples of how do we learn how to train ourselves best, especially if you've had some kind of an injury. There's things you can do to navigate and stay healthy or be healthier so that you can continue to be active as you get older. Because I will conclude with this, is that oftentimes when you have something as severe as like what he's describing, it's not uncommon people just stop training. It's not uncommon people stop exercising. And that's not the answer either. We've got to find ways to, what can you do and what's going to help to balance out your body, but also keep you moving. So hope this helped. Hope these tips helped today. Wanted to kind of evaluate that. And I think it's very effective and helpful for us to kind of know. And thanks for watching, everybody. And I will see you in the next video.